All right, hello everybody. Gonna check to see. Okay. Welcome to the 9th and final week of History of Photography with ImaniHadden. That's me. We are week 9, creating images today in the age of information. So the year 2000 and beyond. My contact information, this is me, ImaniHadden Photography. My Instagram is my first name, last name. You can email me at ImaniHaddenPhotography@gmail.com. I'm available for career building and mentorship for high schools in the AV area. So that's Lancaster and Palmdale regions. Quick intersection. Okay, so my business partner and I, Junior Polito, are selling customizable calendars. So his Facebook to contact him is Junior's Takeover. His Instagram is Junior Polito 35. You can text or call him at 818-675-1500. Tell him I sent you. And calendars are currently $20 each. Singles are available and bulk. Pickups available in the AV only, and we do mail them out. And the calendars can have any images, any 12 images or collages of images that you would like. We put them into the portfolio, the sorter, based on April, May, June, all the way through December, January, February, March, of course, starting with those two, showing December here. And we will get those out to you to fill those orders if you wish. Thank you. Okay. So moving to my background, I have a Bachelor's of Fine Arts in photography, a double minor in art history and architecture. I am a personal and public event photographer, also a real estate photographer, and I consider myself a visual artist. So general Zoom and Meetup housekeeping rules, please stay muted with your screens turned off, questions at the end. There's no homework, no note taking required, no testing. Okay, so technology of the 2000s to now. Cell phones now have cameras. Philip Kahn, a mathematician and engineer, crossed a mini camera and a Motorola cell phone to capture his daughter's birth, June 11th, 1997. Very pivotal. No one had done that before. So the first commercial camera phones, the Samsung SCH-V200 was the first commercially available camera-enabled phone. It had a 1.5-inch LCD screen with 0.35 megapixel images. It captured 20 images, and the images themselves had to be transferred to a computer to be viewable. So this was the early prototype of the camera phone. The next prototype was Sharp Electronics JSH04 J phone. It was actually developed by Philip Kahn. And Lightsurf, his company. It had 0.11 megapixel images and was the first fully integrated phone and camera system. So no computer was needed in order to share the images on the internet. So we're going to move to social media. Social media and making images. Many people in the early 2000s had MySpace, a social media platform to share music, images, find common interests with other people, and to be in social networks called groups. And this guy right here is the maker, Tom, of MySpace. If you make a MySpace, at that time at least, he'd be your first friend. And then you'd build your network out from there. So everybody's first friend is Tom. Some other social media platforms from the top left to right: Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. The middle row, WhatsApp, LinkedIn, Snapchat, and the bottom row, Twitter, TikTok, and Pinterest. Within the last, I say 20 to 25 years, social media has dominated the internet environment. People use social media to share images, pictures, videos, groups, recipes, anything you can think of. CNN has a Twitter. That's a news outlet, and they tweet out breaking news from their platform. YouTube and TikTok have been merged, so people play or upload music from popular TikTok videos, and you can find a popular song just by saying a few of the lyrics, the artist if you know them, TikTok. So this is a 1 hour loop of Big Mad by Kitlin and the lyrics. Very popular. These are current screenshots of social media as of December 2022. Pinterest. A lot of people use Pinterest to sort out their concepts, ideas, interests. They make dream boards or vision boards, and where they put concepts together like their wedding, baby shower, or if they're considering changing their style, they pin as many interesting concepts to a board. So I'm sharing my Pinterest. I said the makeup. So there's makeup swatches of these color pop lipsticks on the arm with the names, and I save them and I decide which makeup to buy if I choose to buy any makeup. It's like digital hoarding. You don't have to spend any money and you have access to any image or concept available. It's really great. Okay, so according to number of photos, 2022 statistics, facts, and predictions, 1.72 trillion images are taken every year. Trillion, not million, not billion, trillion. So that is a lot of digital information surging through the airwaves at any given time. So the breakdown of that is 54,400 per second, 3 million every minute, 196 million every hour, 4.7 billion every day, 32.9 billion every week, 143 billion every month, and 1.72 trillion every year. Total number of photos. So in the 2020s, 2022 just grossed over 10 trillion, and by 2030 we'll be up to 30 trillion images being produced every single year. That is staggering to think about. Percentage of images taken with smartphones. As of 2022, 92.5% of images are taken with smartphones. In 2021, it was 89%. And by 2023, 93% of images will be taken with smartphones. The other few percentages off from being 100 are people with professional cameras, photographers, other means to make images besides smartphones. So Kahn's invention in 1997 and the development in the early 2000s enabled him to give this technology to the world. Most people have some sort of phone, cellular phone. More people do than don't. And most cell phones themselves have, or smartphones, I should say, have cameras. Thanks to Philip Kahn. Okay. Artificial intelligence technology of the 2000s. So artificial intelligence is the theory and development of computer systems able to perform tasks that normally require human intelligence, such as visual perception, speech recognition, decision-making, and translation between languages. And the cover image for this week's session is facial recognition. Yes, it is a thing, it exists. The types of artificial intelligence. Artificial narrow intelligence, which has narrow range of capabilities. So most people have some sort of phone. A lot of people have the iPhone, which has Siri, and I'm going to play this commercial, vintage Apple commercial introducing Siri in 2011.
Read me the message.
New message from Sebastian. Great news. We got the go ahead. Can you meet at 10?
Reply. Definitely. I'll see you there. Play my running mix.
What's the traffic like around here?
Here's the traffic.
Text my wife, I'm gonna be 30 minutes late.
Is it going to be chilly in San Francisco this weekend?
Not too cold. Maybe down to 61 degrees in San Francisco.
What about Napa Valley?
Doesn't seem like it.
How many cups are in 12 ounces?
Let me think. Okay, here you go.
Set my timer for 30 minutes.
Okay, 30 minutes and counting. New notification from messages. Sandy Chen, are we still on for dinner tonight?
Reply. Sure, I'll be there.
Here's your reply to Sandy Chen. Sure, I'll be there.
Send.
Okay. I'd like to say that was not advertisements and that was not sponsored. That was for educational purposes only. As the artificial intelligence that is YouTube is always searching to take videos down. All right. The second type of artificial intelligence is AGI, artificial general intelligence, which is near on par with human capabilities. So Fujitsu supercomputer processed in 2013 using 82,000 processors, a simulation to simulate 1 second of brain activity. That may not seem like much, but as far as computers advance and keep going, they will become faster, smarter, with higher capabilities. AGI is to discern needs, emotions, beliefs, and thought processes of other intelligent entitles or entities rather. Modeled closely on the human brain, soon they were going to use this type of technology or artificial intelligence to help with weather predictions, storm predictions, and other things that help influence the face of the earth. We'll be able to see what's coming before it's coming and give messages to humans in order to avoid certain disasters. The last type of artificial intelligence, it's artificial superintelligence, which is more capable than human intelligence. We see this in science fiction, dystopia films, printed media, where machines become self-aware and surpass the capacity of human intelligence and ability. So if you've ever seen the movie series Terminator with Arnold Schwarzenegger, the actor, he is a supercomputer robot that is roaming around the earth. These guys are shooting at him. He's shooting back. He's got the guns. He's got the motorcycle. He's riding around and he's raising holy heck. And this most recent film, Terminator Dark Fate, put out in 2019, directed by Tim Milner, has the old aspects of the Terminator films. As you see, this guy is human, and this is a supercomputer. Looks like an internal skeleton. So the skin or the fake facade that would make it look human-like has been stripped away, and he's the pure metal skeleton robot. Really creepy. Conceptually, I hope we don't get there. I hope we stay with Siri. I hope we stay with supercomputers that help track the weather and other natural phenomena. I don't want to get to the place of super intelligence. I don't think any of us want to, really. So we have artist commentary on the reaches of AI. So there's a music video called Cyberpunk 2020. I'm not going to play it, but it's a music video by Hell, and it has aspects of dystopian future featuring artificial intelligence and what would or could have been the effects of the pandemic on humankind. So it was filmed in China, and it features memories and dreams of happiness. So when the pandemic hit in 2020, many people were very stressed, very scared what the future would look like. And this music video was put out, I believe it was September of that year, many months into the pandemic already. And it paralleled memories and dreams of happiness with the bleak reality. It also had elements of human isolation, where humans were getting sunlight through infrared or artificial means while they were living in pods. And they had connection with the outside world through cellular phones. So the cellular devices is what was connecting them primarily to the outside world. And I think that was pretty accurate for a lot of people. They used social media to see what was going on around the world, connect to people as they were quarantined. And so this music video has aspects and elements that are true to life. They also talk about and reference artificial intelligence, such as virtual identity sorting or facial recognition. There was themes in the music video of civil unrest, and the artificial intelligence was being used to casually just surveil all the people, all the citizens in this Beijing conceptual landscape. So identity sorting, the police have this gentleman on the ground and the AI is scanning his face in order to come up with an identity. There's people that were committing crimes in this music video, and you see an overcity view, and they are finding this individual, the suspect, in the cityscape overhead. And so this is maybe getting into the more super intelligence aspect of like what the future could look like. No police, not because we don't want police, but because policing can be done with artificial intelligence. What would that look like, right? Automated services. So when people get their car towed and the guy comes and he puts the hooks under your vehicle and he disables the alarm and drives away. Well, in this music video, they showed aspects of automated services coming, scooping your car up and driving away fully automated with no tow man in sight. It was very conceptually interesting. And the theme of constant surveillance is what people really fear with artificial intelligence, which is at any given point, you can look up and find a camera somewhere in your restaurants, in your movie theaters, in your stores, which is to a degree true already, but it gives people anxiety to think that they are constantly being surveilled while they are doing absolutely nothing. And that is a concept that was touched on in Cyberpunk 2020. This gentleman off-site viewing the city cameras that he was assigned to view. Okay, so artificial intelligence in art making. So what? Who cares? And how does it connect to photography and image making? Okay, so there's art made by AI using face mapping, artificial intelligence. Portraits are constructed using live images. And this is one of the many apps, paid app called Lensa. So I was looking for people that were using this in my social circle. So Cacique of Imani Taino tribe, Robert Pearman, he auto-generated one of himself. This is him on the left in a live transmission of information from Jamaica. And this is him as an AI digitally created image on the right. Looks just like him. But of course, it should, as the computer is scanning the facial bones, facial features, clothing, and aggregating some sort of likeness that could be conceptually understood as Robert Pearman. Okay, so I'm going to go through the different applications, some samples. So Lensa, then there's Art Breeder. Stylistically, they're all very different, and the amount of images that you can get is based on the application and how much you pay. There's different tiered levels in order to make this art or AI art based on your physical likeness. So there's people that, or there is a person rather out there that looks like her. It's a digital image put together. Night Cafe has more of the mystical superhero fantasy-like AI art. AI Portrait ARS has the more watercolor, old-time painting sort of aesthetic to it. Okay, so taking a step back, comparing art in prehistory to contemporary AI images, ancient versus futuristic. So I brought back the Paleolithic cave paintings from that era, comparing them to the AI generated paintings of 2022. Let's compare. The Paleolithic cave art, it's ancient. It features human gesture and natural materials. It exists in reality. You can go see it, touch it, feel it, smell it. You can use your senses to experience this art. Of course, you would have to travel, and it is one of a kind, where in comparison to the AI generated art, it's futuristic. It's made in a digital matrix of data pixels. So the zeros and ones that I talked about previously in the previous weeks, it's aggregated through the binary system. It exists conceptually. You cannot touch it, feel it, go see it in person. You can only see it and experience through a digital matrix, and it can be replicated, meaning I can take screenshots, as I did with Robert Pearman's AI digital image. I can share them on an email, where with the one-of-a-kind ancient art, you can only experience it in person. I asked myself, can AI art truly mimic physical presence or the anima or the human soul? That's what I came up with. And I personally don't think so. This was on Lensa's website. They were launching the app, and they have this gentleman on the right. This is his image and likeness. I'm pretty sure that's the image they used. And on the left, there is the Lensa made image. While it does look like him down to the hair, earrings, bit of the eyebrow arch, lips, jawline, what it is missing is the light behind the eyes. It's kind of like dead eyes, blank eyes, where you see in his image, there is animation, there is life, there is a human connection. I can connect with the person on the right. I can't really connect with the likeness on the left. I can really just appreciate the colors and the way that the computer has aggregated his image based on scanning his face. It's an aesthetically pleasing image. However, I don't think that AI art can mimic physical presence. It is made by a computer. It is not a documentation made by a computer of a real life breathing person. Okay. Art critics backlash against AI art. So Filippo Lorenzin on Hyperallergic said, why do AI generated portraits fail at realism? Why do these portraits almost always fall short of being lively or authentic? So I pulled out some quotes and helped make the comparison. What these AI engines lack in creativity is made up by the genuine expectation of the viewer. This is Denzel Washington's likeness aggregated into looks like a old style painting, probably from the 16 or 1700s, maybe 1800s. Besides the fact that it's missing algorithms in order to transfer his skin color to the portrait, it is also missing the gesture and stroke. It is just a copy and paste of his face into a matrix that already exists. As you see, it has elements of his face, but it really tried to mix the original image with what the matrix has already been programmed to have, which is a white male subject. Lorenzen also said, what's portrayed is not only the physical features, but also the psychological dimensions of the individuals. So he was comparing the real paintings to the AI images. And this is Gustave Courbet, The Desperate Man. It was said to be a self-portrait made from 1844 to 1845. Very much more intention, detail, because a human being made this portrait, which is a painting, rather than a computer taking elements of facial recognition and data matrices and pixels and spitting out a hyper colorized image of somebody that already exists. Okay. So we're going to jump to week one, taking a step back. I asked, did photography really make painting obsolete? I said it was quicker. It preferred reality over fantasy. Novices had the ability to create freely. Necessary training, but not as extensive as painting. And the major difference was that paintings evoked mood, photography focused on documentation. So I took that concept and moved forward to the deep dive. The AI art, comparing it to photography. It is, and painting. It is quicker than painting, but slower than picture taking. You're at the mercy of the AI computers aggregating or putting together your image from the pixels, your face, and other pre-programmed information. They prefer fantasy over reality. This is casual entertainment. Many people can just take a selfie of themselves. So in order to get people interested, they put backgrounds and other elements into the photos. Novices also have the ability to freely create. And by freely, I mean it's accessible through the digital platforms. It is not free monetarily. Some apps do have a price in order to create multiple images for you. And the AI art, I noticed, blends picture and painting, and it evokes aesthetic taste. I think she's a fairy princess or Mother Earth. There's other ways in which we use art to enjoy ourselves aesthetically, please ourselves. As of 2022, people are using these digital computer programs in order to create likenesses of themselves in ways that it would take too long to paint, and they aren't as fantastic as just a normal selfie. They're making themselves painters and photographers with these AI digital applications and programs. I think that's very interesting. I've only seen it happen a few times where people have used the app, but there's many examples. If you use Google AI art or portraiture, you can find hundreds of thousands of people from all over the world scanning their faces, putting them into the digital matrix, and the matrix then puts out the AI art. Okay. So here's my sources for this week. Really interesting. I liked what I saw. I like what I found. So right now we're going to pause for questions, and then we can move on to previous and current work to follow. So anyone have any questions?
So the AI uses the cell phone uses you're going into a software to create, are you uploading a picture of yourself and then the AI software then gives you a likeness of what you would look like? What exactly is that?
So the software is it's either on your Android phone or iPhone. Some of them just use your regular laptop computer or desktop computer, and you allow it to scan your face, sides of your face, bottom of your face, and a little bit of the top of your forehead, and it puts together an artificial intelligence rendering of you, and let's say you as Star Wars, you as Yoda. Sometimes it's like Mother Earth or nature. It makes a painterly digital image of the person that is being photographed.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah,
I
it's
kind of see what you said, then it's kind of art, marrying the two, art and photography. Is that what it's
yeah,
doing?
and it's being spread through social media. I was thinking about making the AI commentary, and I was scrolling on Instagram and I saw Robert Pearman. Someone assisted him in making his AI art. I took a screen capture of that, and I was like, yeah, let me get that. That's very, it looks nice. It's very polished, very interesting. But that's something that is happening in this month, 2022. All these apps are launching the ability to do this. And a lot of people are doing it, seeing what they like. It's like dressing up without actually having to get into costume. So a lot of people are like, put elf ears on me, make me Star Wars, make me cyborg, make me this, make me a fairy. You know, they kind of use the app in order to pick the aesthetic and then render their image into the computer matrix. Any other questions?
Something on the nose or something on the ears, how is that different than that type of photo of a person's face? Like let's say a movie star didn't want you to see their child's actual face, they would post up the child, but then put, elf ears, or they put whatever over the child's face. How is that different than this AI?
That's a filter. So the
Okay.
the filter overlays digital content, stickers. Some people put like a smiley face over the kid's face. So that's a filter. The image remains the same, but they're just appliquing something over the face, where AI, in comparison, takes the digital facial mapping into its system, puts together an image, and then produces the image in the aesthetic or the way that the person originally chose. That's a good question. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Anybody else? Okay. I'm going to go forward to previous and current work. So my previous work, Playing with Fire series in 2016. When I was in college, I was motivated to create different work that I have never seen before. So I played the music video of Kiss It Better by Rihanna. I took pictures of the screen using my film camera, not a digital camera. I developed the film, I cut it up and put it into the darkroom enlarger, developed it on paper. I took that paper and I burned and set it on fire with perm cream. So this one, I didn't put the label, but this is called Electric Chair. I had an image of actually other various Black female performers in the entertainment industry. And I had noticed that all of them had straight hair or hair extensions that were straight or permed hair, weaved hair. And I wanted to conceptually explore the relation between the burning of the paper and the chemical process of the burning and straightening of the hair. Because in order to straighten the hair, the proteins and the shaft of the hair is chemically altered, much like the paper is chemically altered. So this one is called Fission. I had this one in the Antenna Gallery in 2016. I was able to get multiple Rihannas by cutting up the film. After I developed it, put it into the enlarger, and I have multiple Rihannas on one frame, where in the music video, it was just her in each frame. So this is Fission. You see like the two heads pulling apart, and I put the perm cream right where the hair connected, and I took it outside. Always be fire safe if you're setting things on fire. And I laid the match, and the perm cream is highly flammable because it's chemicals, and it created that. And it was a big hit at Antenna Gallery, me making commentary, social commentary about perm cream, hair, Black women, beauty, and how beauty is pain, or beauty can actually be toxic. This one I called Scorched Earth. I laid the perm cream on her hair, juxtaposed her looking up, looking down, and agitated the perm cream just on the hair, similar to the image in the original description of my piece. And what I was referencing, the Kiss It Better music video, I have the GIFs here. I saw her whipping her hair around. Her hair is either straight naturally or straightened, it's not an afro. But I thought that's very fascinating how it's very focused on her hair, the wind. Of course, it's to incite the idea of a sex symbol, beautiful woman, beautiful hair blowing in the wind. I thought, this is what I can make my 2016 project about. I can really focus on doing something different, doing something I've never seen before. And the purpose of playing with fire, showing the damage beauty products can have on women of color, noticing the lack of natural hair representation in the entertainment industry. And I wanted to push the photo process to a state of distress, because we always want to have perfect photos, perfect prints, no dust, no dirt. But when someone comes in and brings in burnt prints, literally burnt prints, it kind of shifts the discussion to, what are you trying to say, Imani, with your art? What's the purpose and why? My why came from a screenshot. Wow. 8 years later, 6 years later. Women who develop uterine cancer, fibroids, ovarian cancer, or endometrial cancer. This was a scrolled ad on my Instagram page. I took a screenshot of it because I had been talking in 2016 about these issues. These chemicals cannot be good. Anything that is going to straighten something from curly to perfectly bone straight may not be necessarily organic or healthy for the cells. And so when I saw that, I thought, yeah, my commentary in 2016 is actually coming full circle. The art I was making, the concepts that I was trying to push in the Antenna Gallery are now becoming scientifically backed rather than personally backed. Opinions, my feelings about chemicals. Now people are coming out with a class action lawsuit in order to say, have you been harmed by hair straighteners? Many women have, and it's going to be a larger number of women that eventually come forward once they realize that there may be a connection between the history of them straightening their hair with chemical straighteners and their womb issues. Okay. So my senior thesis BFA show at Tulane University in Carroll Gallery, I had it in 2018, and I will be looking at these 5 pieces in particular. Meditations on the Helix Haya, that was the name of my series of work, and I call this Abandoned Vessel on the left and the Constellation on the right. I made my final body of work about my Afro-Indigenous identity, and I was able to post selfies without posting selfies of my face. So these images are taken on 35mm black and white film in my FM10 Nikon camera. The film was developed, scanned into the computer digitally, and then enhanced in various places in order to bring the whites out, push the darks to be very dark, and then printed on a roll of paper. So I went from analog to digital prints. And that is the most recognizable part of me, marked woman. I didn't clean my film after I developed it. I allowed it to be streaky. I underdeveloped it, and it was very grainy. And when I scanned it into the computer, I decided I was not going to make any digital changes in Photoshop. I just scanned it in, put it into the digital matrix on Photoshop, printed it out. Good Medicine was also hanging on the wall. That is a representation of how all the images were printed out and hung. And that's a black and white print in a frame on the wall. The 4 Flames. So I talked about Indigenous identity and me coming to learn more about my Indigenous identity. And I took the concept of the burning from the perm cream, and I put the 4 images, the same image, and I slowly burned deeper and deeper and more exposed into the paper. Very difficult without ending up burning into the white part of the frame, burning across. I had to burn, put the fire out, burn a little bit more, put the fire out. And what was underneath was a inverted image of a Native American man. They say that natives embrace the concept of their ancestors, and so the ancestors were coming forward from the flame. And that was my conceptual idea with the 4 Flames. Helix Haya, a male medicine maker, traditional doctor, Muskogee Creek. So I put my version of a medicine wheel. Instead of putting it on a table for people to look at, I made the piece attached to the wall. So this is cedar, Palo Santo, sage, and copal. And in the middle was a Creek medicine man in the book that I was reading. I had scanned his image from the book, printed it out, and then put found images of people's elders and ancestors into my work. And this last one was the most popular conceptually. So negative number 1117, Smithsonian Collection, Negro. Half-blood, traditional Indian, African Creek. Chief, traditional Indian, Hotukomiko. And this was called Silas Jefferson, year 1887, archive ontology. That's what it was called in my senior thesis show. And it calls our attention to our internalized assumptions of images of Black and Afro-Indigenous men based on labels. And I used ontology, particularly number 2, a set of concepts and categories in a subject area or domain that shows their properties and relations between them. And that image was scanned from the archival photo, African Creeks, Estaveste, the Creek Nation. So it's to show, without being so heavy-handed, that the way we think about other people is pretty much based on the labels and the concepts that other people use to attach to other people. If I had said slave, Negro, field hand, butler, people will go, well, yeah, I assume that, right? It's a picture of an African descended man in America. He's wearing a suit. And many people did come up to me and say, hey, I thought you were going to talk to me about slavery. I passed it up and I thought, let me give it a chance, even if she is talking about slavery. And then when you said he's a chief, that woke me up. That made me rethink about how I interact with imagery, how I interact with the other. It may not necessarily be Black people, African descended peoples. It could be anyone different from themselves. They're like, I'm going to start thinking about how I view people and how the media labels people and introduces people into our home. We need to go out and make our own conclusions about people. We need to make sure we aren't being fed labels, concepts, without being critical of what we're being shown. Okay, so my current work. My Packard car at Mashika New Year, Los Angeles, March 2022. I love getting out into the field. I try to get out almost every weekend if possible, weather permitting. Desi Hollow, musician, West Coast Urban Con in June. I really liked his look, his tattoo, his chain, the gold. He's actually a very tall gentleman, above, I think, 6'3", 6'4". So I had to hold my camera on top of my head and take pictures in the Staples Center in downtown LA. People were looking like, what are you doing? That's so weird. But I had to get a crisp, clear image. I love fashion. I love hip hop. I love hip hop imagery. I love the way they put it together, the vintage styles from the 70s to now. I love it. Keep it going. Also, tattoo art. My friends have tattoos, and I think tattoos are pieces of art, and they tell stories and they show connection to culture and interests and things that really a person would want to have on their body pretty much for the rest of their life. I'm fascinated by tattoos when people put tattoos on themselves, because you're telling everybody, this is what I want on my body for the rest of my life. Look at this art, whether it's cultural or a quote from books. I find it very, very interesting. Motorcycles and vehiclas. I am taking pictures in Southern California. The Mexican American culture has a lot of lowriders, motorcycles of the sorts. And so I walk up, I snap a picture, I walk away, I put it on Instagram, and the person's like, hey, you didn't tag me. It's like, oh, okay. But it means that they're actively looking out for the work that I put out. And that's actually so fulfilling as a photographer, to have people check to see if you put their picture on social media so that they can share it with their friends and family. It's like they're famous in a way. Summer Meltdown, July of this year, and Sweet 16, September of this year. I love taking pictures of cars, lowriders, classic vehicles. It's so interesting to see the different types of paint, the hard work that multiple generations of families do, from father to son, mother to daughter. The gender doesn't really matter, that these cars are living testimonies to keeping something in the family, and they are traveling murals. So you can see their work wherever they drive this car. You can see their work, from the lowriders to the classic cars that have been upkept since the 1950s. I'm also commissioned to do personal events. So I got this girl's permission to share the Sweet 16 with the classic car from the previous slide. I love doing parties. It's so much fun to party with the family, party with the friends, but it's also work. So I'm walking around all day or the evening or night, taking pictures, capturing those key moments for people. I also take pictures of models. Seen this one before, but this image is blowing up on Facebook. People are going crazy over it. The colors, the blue sky, the green trees. I had the model face the sun. And of course, I pumped up the saturation a little bit to make sure she looks the best she can look. Always shoot in raw format if you're a photographer or getting into photography, so that you can go back in Photoshop, or you can go back in Lightroom or other ways and just edit up the picture, not overdo it, but just make sure that everything's color correct and visually pleasing. And this one I took of a girl named Carla. Her IG is True Taurus 1982. She was dressed up for a toy drive, and she was one of Santa's reindeer. And I asked her, hey, can you pose by the car? I gave light direction. And this is one of the images that I came out, and the people on her page, it's like over 200 likes, and it's only been a few days since I've shared it with her. People really like this image, and I really love making models look the best they can. And I put my watermark, ImaniHadden Photography, at the bottom. Other models that I've done: 2019. This one was taken in Hawaii. This one was taken in San Bernardino. So this girl wanted a model portfolio. This was my best friend. She just wanted one of her hot girl photos. So I said, I can take one. I can do that. Give me your phone. Phone, cell phone, smartphone camera, regular camera. If you give me a camera, I'll take a picture, whatever you want me to take a picture of. Mexican folk dancers. This was at a festival in Southern California, and I really want to capture the movement and the color and the formation of the dancers. So not every pic you take as a photographer is the one. There's many shots that someone's looking away or someone stumbles out of the frame. So you're shooting with the intention that one of your 30 plus shots, maybe even one of 1,000, is the right moment. Nature scenery. I love nature scenery. I call it like the elevator photography, where you just see images, and if an image wasn't there, you go, that wall would be blank. So I take that style of imagery as well. Okay. So I'm going back to the customizable calendars. My business partner and I are making customizable calendars. You can reach out to him at Junior Takes Over on Facebook, Junior Polito 35 on Instagram. You can text or call him at 818-675-1500. We will put anything inside of the calendar that you want. We are currently filling orders at $20 a piece, singles or bulk. They're available for pickup in the AV only, and we will mail them to you. So keep that in mind. Before we go, any other questions, comments about this series? some feedback. Anybody? I'd like to
A
know.
question that I had was, I noticed the photos of that gentleman that you had. It was the same image 6 or 7 different times, but you had labeled it differently.
Mhm.
Is that the one where you're saying that was in the gallery, and when people were passing by, when they saw the first image, they thought he was just an African American person, but towards the end of the series of photos, they realized he was actually
Chief.
what was
Yeah.
he actually?
He was a chief. Silas Jefferson was a half African or African American, half Muskogee Creek chief.
Okay.
And a little story behind that, when Washington, D.C. sent their delegates to talk to the chief, and there was local chiefs of the whole tribe, like they broke off based on groups of people or family clan. When they came to his family clan, they're like, where's the chief? And everyone was like, there you go, him. And they're like, no way, you're pulling our leg. But then when they went through the ceremonial meeting and they were being put through the rituals and the ways that they delegates greet each other, or chieftain greet each other, they were surprised and going, this man, we thought he was a slave. We thought he was somebody's butler. We made assumptions. And so that was written about in the book, that they had never seen a person of African descent in America at that time, at the height of slavery, who didn't have a slave status. It blew people's minds, just like how it blew people's minds almost 200 years later. It had the same effect of assumption. We're still assuming things about people. And it's I didn't want to be too heavy-handed of like, don't assume. It's just like, you made an assumption, and now based on whatever you see under this man's picture, you can get an aspect of, if I just saw negative such and such and such, or Smithsonian collection, it's just a piece of the information. I got to actually dig deeper. I got to keep reading. I got to go to the footnotes. I got to read about what's this person trying to show me. What are they trying to show me? Yes.
Oh, I thought you were finished.
No.
So
Yeah,
I
no,
just
I'm done.
wanted to say, okay, thank you. I wanted to just say thank you for the several weeks of your master class on art and photography. I thought it was absolutely phenomenal. I couldn't wait for every week to hear what you had, although you preempt us the week before,
Mhm.
but to see it happen from week 1 till now, I think it's your last week. I'm just so thrilled that I was able to hear this, and looking forward to looking at it again, because my internet went off a lot throughout
Mhm.
the whole series, to go back on your YouTube channel and just go indulge, listen to it from beginning to end, and all of the different weekly series. I actually wish you had more
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
continue. So if you decide to pick it up, or to go maybe even more deep dive into each thing that you've done, even more,
Mhm.
or however you wish to continue, just please do let me know, because I'll once again be here to
Okay.
enjoy and to learn. You taught me a lot. I absolutely loved hearing the knowledge that you have, and sharing it with us. So thank you very much. I'm very grateful and feel blessed to have heard your presentation or your masterclass.
Thank you so much for that feedback.